There you go. So essentially, this is where you're going to do all your transactions. So every transaction, obviously, you got to write up paperwork for it. So this is the system that you'll do it. Right. First, we'll focus on buyer offers, doing it from the buyer side, and then we'll do it from the listing side. But we'll just cover the listing side briefly because it's essentially the same as the buyer side, just one less step. So let's, for example, let's say you have a client that is going to be submitting an offer on a property. So the first thing you're going to do is go in here. On your left-hand side here, you'll see all these options. You should be on your dashboard when you open right up. You'll also see pipeline, transactions, buyer offers, contacts, reports, library, accounting. Buyer offers is where we're going to go to submit a buyer offer. So you're going to click on this. And then, okay, hang on, I think I'm signed into. Well, it's fine. I'll just use hers anyway. Sorry, hang on. Don't mind what I'm doing real quick. I'm just getting rid of some of this stuff that's in here. Okay, don't mind all the stuff that's in here. You're not going to have anything in there. But essentially, once you click on buyer's offer, you'll have the option up here to create an offer. It'll give you two options. You can either create a brand new one, or you can search it from the MLS. So say it's one from like an off-market deal or something like that that's not on the MLS. You would then go and manually create a brand new one. Or if it's from the MLS, you could just search one specifically. So I'm going to look up a property real quick, and then I'm going to type in the MLS number. Let's pull up a property. So it's going to ask you for the MLS ID and then the property address, but I think you can just type in just the property address and it'll pull it up. Okay, so we've got a property here. All right, so what you'll do, and if you guys don't know, on the MLS, it will show an MLS ID, which is like designated for each property on there. That's what you're going to want to type in. So you'll type that in and you'll click search. Perfect. And it's going to take a second, and then it's going to find that property, and it's going to pull their information in. Just thinking about it. Cool. So now it'll pull the property right here. So just make sure that this is correct, and this is the property you're looking for here. And then it should show the asking price. Again, this doesn't have to do with what you're going to put for the offer. Just this is the price that it's listed at. So if this is the correct one, you're going to click select. Then it's going to bring you to this here. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to checklists right here. And we're going to change this to buyer offer documents. If you were doing something different, like if it was a land lease or not a land lease, I'm sorry. If it was like a land purchase, you'd put that one. If it's a rental or lease, you'd put that one. So say you're representing a tenant, and you're representing them to help them, get a rental, you'd put the rental one. So we're just going to do it as if it's a normal transaction, traditional sale. You'll put that there. Then it's going to ask you a couple questions like when's your closing date? Put the closing date that you would put on the offer. So if today's the 30th, and let's just say we're going to do June 30th, which is a Friday. And then it's going to ask you to select the financing, whether it's cash, conventional, whatever that, thing is, we'll just put cash. Then if you click here on additional fields, it's going to ask you two more things. You don't have to fill out all this information. You don't have to do that. It's going to ask you for a buyer name. You can put that in there. I'm just going to put it my name. And then it's going to ask you for the firm MLS code, which should already be populated. That's the Barrett Real Estate's MLS code. And then the license number for the brokerage. It's automatically going to have those, just select them. So now that nothing's red here and we've got everything selected, if I'm going too fast, anybody, please feel free to stop me. You're going to go and click next after that once you've typed this stuff in. And then it's going to ask you for a buyer. So you're going to type that in. Now, let's say that you have in most situations, any buyer you enter in here is not going to be in the system already. So you're going to put, let's just say Tim, fake name is the guy. So once you start typing in something that's not in the system, it's going to say right underneath it, create new. And then you're going to click create new. Now you can put their information. The one thing you will want to change is this contact thing. Instead of it being available for everyone, you'll do me only or private will be the option. So no one else will be able to see this. This, I think on your guys' accounts, it'll default automatically to me only, so it won't be available for everybody to see anyway. I think it's just because this is one of the admin accounts. And then you'll put in their email, phone number. Really, the only thing you need in here is just an email. But I always put their phone number in there, but you can do it however you want. But you'll put their email in there. .com. And then you'll just click create right here. So then you've got your buyer. If there's another buyer, then you would just click add contact. Say you want to add another buyer. And then you're going to click what they are on here. So it's going to be another buyer. You know, say if it's a couple, and then you'll put Bob Smith. And then you'll have buyer's agent section. You're going to type in your name. You'll already be in the system. Make sure when you select it, don't click just the one that says contact. There's one that says user. Make sure you select user. And then seller, you don't have to put the seller's name in there. You can if you want, but you don't have to. It's not going to do anything if you do. So I'm just going to remove it. So if you click on these three little dots here, you can remove anybody that's in there. So we've got our two buyers. We've got me in there. We're good to go. And then we can go ahead and click create. So now it's going to generate what's called a buyer offer, which is this little thing here. So now it's already generated. If I go back from here and I go to my buyer offers, I just forgot there's a bunch of stuff in here. So now I got to find it. But yeah, it'll go ahead and add it in here. You will just see that one that's in there. You can even make a fake one if you want. It's just, you know, you're gonna have to cancel it out too. I'm just gonna pull this property back up real quick. It'd help if I typed in the right number.
That might happen.
Right? I'm like, why isn't that pulling up? So now we're in here again. We're in the same place. Once you click create, now it's going to generate this. This is kind of where you'll go through and you'll submit the buyer offers and stuff like that. Well, at least you'll write them up. If you look here, you see this I want to button, the big plus with a little orange dot on it. When you click on this, you'll go to offer documents. That one, as long as you select a checklist in the beginning, when you remember when we set it up and I said select the checklist, that will populate. If you didn't select that and it's not there, don't get freaked out or something like that. You're just going to literally add a checklist to it. You would just click right underneath it if you didn't, and then you would select, you know, buyer offer documents. But since we already selected that, it'll already be there. So now what you're going to do is you're just going to click on this one that says offer documents. This is going to populate all the forms that you need them to sign to submit an offer. So now you'll see this little orange one across here. If you click on these three dots here, you'll click use forms. So then it's going to automatically populate all the documents you need in here. So it's going to have your real estate agency or your real estate purchase contract, market conditions, wire fraud advisory, buyer advisory. There's an affiliated business disclosure. If your client is buying with us, but then they're also the person who's financing it is a Barrett financial lender, they'll have to sign that as well. So it's just good practice, just have everybody sign it. And then there's the fair housing one. And then if you, let's say you use a buyer broker when you do your deals and stuff like that. So you need to add that in here. And then the only thing, I think the other thing that we're missing here is, yeah, your ready form, which is like your real estate agency disclosure form. So we'll add those ones in here. So you just go on here and you can see there's add forms and then there's attached documents.
Is there a way to edit the default? Like come with that? Or is that?
I mean, they're just company based on the actual like checklist that we've put in there. There's not really a way to change this, but you can add in whatever documents you want if there's additional ones. You can also, let's say like you've pulled up this listing and there's, for some of the people that are brand new that don't really know how to even navigate writing up an offer, but for the people that do, essentially, you might have HOA documents or something like that that the listing agent has given you that's on the MLS. This is where you could go and download them and then you could attach them and you just click attach document and you can attach any document you wanted in here. So let's just say, I don't know what this is, but I don't want to click on it if I don't know what it is. But you can add in any document that you've downloaded. So if there was an HOA addendum or something like that, or like a seller property disclosure, your SPUDs, that were in there, you could download them, attach them to the transaction because your client will have to sign those documents. And then you can do it all at once here. But let's say we want to add those forms, the buyer, broker, and the real estate agency disclosure. We'll click add more forms. And for you, if you've never signed into this and done a transaction, it's probably going to say like, hey, you need to verify your email address. Once you verify your email address, then it's going to ask you put in your NARDS number, which is like that NAR number or NARDS or whatever number. It'll be on your WeServe. So, or if you're a part of WeServe, your association should have that number for you. You'll put that in. Once you put that in, you'll have access to the documents. There's a company library. I normally use the AAR because this has like every single form you possibly need. So I always just click on AAR because those are the actual Arizona ones. And then instead of like searching through these folders, you can just literally click this little magnifying glass and search for the document. So if we're looking for a buyer broker, you'll see you'll have buyer broker exclusive employment agreement, and you'll click this little check right next to it and it'll highlight that one. And then we want the agency as well. And then real estate agency disclosure and election, you'll select that one. So now, because there is other documents in there, how do I make this go away? Like, why is it so away? Can I collapse this? Maybe not. Okay. Now it's going to show on here 8 documents selected. That's just because all the other documents you have in there as well. If you wanted to view a document, you could literally go in here, like say, oh, let me make sure this is the right form. You can click on this document and then you can view it to make sure it's the right one you need. And then just click close, and then it'll take you back to this. So say we've got all the documents that we wanted selected. We'll just click this bottom button down here. We'll click select. So now it'll add those 2 documents in here at the bottom. Now, say you're super like anal and you're like, I want these documents in here a certain way. You can move these around by grabbing these little tabs here and move them in whatever order you want. There we go, maybe. So then you can rearrange these however you want. You know, some people have a specific order the way they want them signed. You can do them whatever you want. Once you got all the documents you need in there, then you'll just literally click this button that says next. If I can click with one finger. So now it's going to show a bunch of people in here. You've got manager, seller, seller 2. You can delete some of these ones. So you don't need all these people to sign. Again, this is just for your clients to sign. No one else is going to be really signing this. So you can delete all these other ones. So you can delete these broker fields, buyer 2. We don't need the manager on there. Delete the owner. So you can either do this now at the beginning or you can do it at the end, because when you send this for them to sign, it's going to say, hey, you have all these other people that don't have any signatures on there. It's going to tell you to remove them anyway. So I would just do it in the beginning. And then also too, the one thing I would do is add your escrow officer, because it'll auto-populate that on here. So if we have, trying to think of an escrow officer that we have. Can't think of one. We're just going to add Leslie. Just for example, but you can put in your own escrow officer that you use regularly. You can put them in there, and when you type their name in, it'll populate their information in there. Just like creating a user, as in like a buyer, you would create a user like a contact in there for your escrow person. So now I've got this set up the way we want it. If you wanted to, and say you wanted them to sign in a specific order, say someone was like, oh, I want to sign it first before they see it so that I can make sure it's correct. You can click assign order, and then you could rearrange these to the order that they're going to sign in. So, if you wanted to do that, you could. I don't ever do that. I just let them free for all and sign it whenever. But once you've selected those people, now you can click. Sorry, getting messages at the same time. Now you can click next. And then now it's going to generate your documents. So, and now it's just essentially like any other software you guys have used for writing up documents and stuff like that. So you have all your little tools here at the top. You can add text boxes. Again, this will auto-populate all the signature areas and stuff like that. So you won't really need to do anything other than like writing in the specific information for your transaction on your actual contract and stuff like that. So residential. And again, you'll click anything that's green is fillable, like as in right now. So you'll fill it in right then and there.
Like the DocuSign, that you get when you're doing the house.
Yeah. This is essentially the same thing. You can add signatures to it. You can add initials, you can add dates. Any document that you pull in that's outside of the library that we have won't autofill the signatures. So you'll need to go like, so if you added an HOA addendum, you'll have to add the signature boxes on that, stuff like that. But man, my voice is breaking. But yeah, so, and then again too, so any of these boxes here, you can click on them and it'll give you some options. So you can have it required for them to fill out, like they have to fill this out. I normally, obviously, like for these boxes and stuff like that, for buyer election and stuff like that, I normally just fill it now myself for them, you know, but you can have them do it if you want. And then you can click on these and you can delete them if you wanted. So say you didn't want these anymore, you could delete them, or you can add more if you wanted. And then anything colorful here, the different colors will be like actual signs for specific people. So if you click on those, you can assign them to different people. So say you want, you know, the buyer 1, or you actually want buyer 2 to sign first on the first line, and, you know, vice versa. You could change that.
Evo,
Yeah.
can we do we have the ability to make our own template so that if we want like the buyer broker forms, the agency forms, we know that we always want those. Is there any way that we can always have those there?
I am not sure, to be honest with you, but I can double check and find out. I just don't know off the top of my head because I never do it like that, but I will find out for you. This is Doris, right?
Yes, yes.
I will find out for you and let you know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
No problem. Sorry, hang on, guys. I'm just writing this down so I don't forget. So yeah, so you can change all these sign-in stuff and whatnot. You can write in your terms and stuff like that in here, whatever you're putting on there. You can add all that in there. Once you've gone through, and again, I'm not going to go through all this because, you know, you guys, you know, should know how to add the little signature boxes and stuff like that. If you don't know how to write a contract, that's something different. You know, we can help you do that if you need it, you know, that kind of thing, but we're not going to go over that in this class, that's for sure. So once you've got all your signature boxes, you can save and close it. And then now it's automatically going to be on here. Hang on, once it saves, it'll look a little bit different. So now that you've saved it, you'll see this little e-sign package here. You'll see offer documents. Now, say you want to go back in there, you want to change it because you haven't sent it. We didn't send anything yet. We just saved it. You can go back in, click on this e-sign here. Then it'll open this little thing up again and we can click next. It'll take us right back to the documents. So if we need to change anything, we can, you know, you can go through and change that again. But say we're ready to go. We're like, cool, all done, ready for them to sign it. We can click on this little down arrow here and then it'll give you some options. You could, now let's say you have clients that are, you know, they're like, I only want to sign stuff physically, which, you know, some people may do. You can just download this contract now that you've filled it out the way you want it, and it will download, and then you could literally print it out. And then they could physically sign it if they wanted. Hopefully you guys won't have to do that for any of your clients, but you know, you can just click send for e-sign. So once you click send for e-sign, it's going to give you the people that you're sending it to here, and these are the people that are going to be signing. You can add anybody that you want to CC to it. I know if you use Megan as a TC, she'll CC you on everything. Again, you can, you know, specify that order that you want them to sign in if you want. And then it's also just going to write a generic little message here. You can rewrite this and you can write in whatever you want for this template here, but, you know, write in whatever you want. Sign this now or else, you know, that's what I put. And then you just literally click send and it'll send it to them. Once it sends it to them and they sign it, it's going to tell you. So it'll say, hey, they opened your email. They viewed the documents. They signed everything, you know, and then once it's fully signed, they'll be like, hey, everything's signed and good to go. All you got to do is go right back into Brokermint and go into your buyer offer, and you'll be able to see the finished signed document and you'll be able to download it and send it to the listing agent.
Evo, is this sending DocuSign or how, what do I tell my client to look for?
It'll say Brokermint. It's going to send them a
okay.
Brokermint like email saying, hey, you have documents to sign. So that's what it's called. But you know, I just tell them, hey, it's an e-sign. So I'm gonna send you an e-sign. You can it's gonna email you and then you can sign it there. So but yeah, you can call it Brokermint specifically. I think that's what the emails say. But yeah, and then they just go and sign it. I'm not gonna send this because it'll send it to everybody, but let's say you go in here and you're signing and you fill everything out and you're like, ah, crap, I forgot a document. You can just click settings and then you can change either the signers, whoever is signing, say you forgot a signer, or say, you know, there's a form or document you're missing. You can click form or document. It's going to take you back to that page to select the form, add the one you're missing, click next. It'll add it back in there and it will also save all the previous stuff you've done on it. So if you filled out an entire contract and you're like, crap, I forgot something, and then you add something in, it's not going to delete all the stuff that you've already put in there. So it'll be good to go. Does that make sense for everybody? Like at least how to go in there and send it?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm just going to save and close because I'm not going to send it. I'll go into one so you can see what it looks like for you to actually send one. One sec, I'll pull up one of my transactions. I just got to remember the name. I'm like, what's the name of it? Roosevelt. Well, let me search. Maybe it won't search all of them. Here, hang on. Oh, it's because mine is a transaction. That's why. Let me see if I have a buyer offer. Well, let me just go through some of these ones. See if they have a. Just trying to see if one of these has an actual signed thing so I can show you what it looks like here. Oh, there we go. Cool. So once you've sent the actual package, like the e-sign package to them, this is what it'll look like. So it'll say like, hey, you sent this, and it'll say sent. If you assign an order to the way that they sign, don't get confused, because until that first person signs, the other people's are not going to send to them. So it's going to say not sent. So, you know, if you're looking at that and you're like, it sent the one, but it didn't send the other ones for some reason. If you assigned an order for how you want them to sign, it's not going to send the other ones yet until that first person has signed. If you send it with no order, then it'll say sent, and then it'll just say, you know, waiting for signatures or whatever like that. Let me see if I can find another one that says, you know, signatures on it.
Evo, I've had problems where when the husband and wife go to the same email, they want to sign on the same email.
You can't do that.
Yeah, okay.
So if they want to do that, there's not a way to do that. We have to have two separate emails for them to sign on. So I would tell them to either create an email, a separate email, or I mean, the only other way, if they're really just not wanting to do that, you'd have to like,
Physically do it.
I mean, there is a way to get around it. You probably could, is if you, no, that really still wouldn't work, but you could technically, you'd have to send each e-sign separately. So you would send one e-sign, have them sign it and finish the document, download that document again, put it back into a new e-sign, and then put that person on there. So I wouldn't recommend doing that though. I would just tell them they both need to have an email. If they don't, have them set one up just for signing if that's the case. Or if they just don't want to do that, then I would recommend having them sign maybe physically instead if you need to. But that's really the only, it has to be two separate emails. If you see here, this one is not assigned or anything like that in a specific signing order. So this is what it'll look like when you send the e-sign package. Then once it's fully signed, it'll say that the documents are signed and you'll get these check marks here. If they just viewed it and they haven't signed it, it'll say viewed. So, but that's what it'll look like. And then you can literally just click on this PDF here and then you can download it. You know, you can download the document from here and just click download with or without the e-sign certificate. The e-sign certificate obviously just puts that certificate at the end saying that, you know, it's been authenticated, that it is signed by the different parties. You can download it, or again, you can click on this, or what is it? There should be a button here. Oh, it should look like this too. And you should be able to view the package and then you could download it and sign it too. So once you get it, you just got to go in there and download it, and then you can send it to whatever person you need to send it to. Let's go back to our test transaction here. This one. So say you fully signed this and it's good to go and you've got your offer accepted. Offers accepted, sellers accepted, you sent it to them, perfect, fantastic, amazing, you're happy. You're gonna click this plus sign again. And then now you're just gonna literally click mark as accepted. And then it's gonna say, you're about to mark this offer as accepted. Do you sure you wanna accept it? Click yes. And then it's gonna say this offer has been marked as accepted. You can turn it into a transaction with all the data pulled and transferred. So now you can turn it into an actual transaction where it's going to give you all the documents that you're gonna need for that transaction throughout the transaction. A buyer offer is just the initial, start of it. So you'll just be, sending back the back and forth between the clients and stuff like that to do the initial ones. What I normally do as well, because there's not really a way to initiate an e-sign without doing it through a buyer offer or a transaction. As soon as I get a buyer, I'll generate a transaction and I'll put or not a transaction, I'm sorry. I'll generate a buyer offer and I'll put a random address. I'll just click create new instead of putting an MLS number if we don't know what house it is. And I'll just put 123 Banana Street or whatever. And then, or I'll put 123 still looking. And then I will go in there and generate an e-sign for them to sign buyer broker disclosures. So they sign all of that initially. And then when I generate a new e-sign package, I'm just going to click just the purchase contract. And then, then I don't need to send all those forms again. I can just generate the purchase contract, write that one up, and then send it to them. So once you've got it accepted, you're going to click start transaction. Then it's going to ask you a little bit more information. When was your acceptance date? So let's say our acceptance date was today. And then it's going to ask you some additional fields here. It's just going to ask you for your firm name. And then the other thing, it's going to ask you how you want to get your commission, whether you want to pick it up from title or have it directly deposited into your account. Pick it up from title means a multitude of things. Having it wired, having them send you a check, having them send a check to the office. That can mean multiple things. If you just want ACH to direct deposit, which is from Barrett Real Estate, you'll select that, and then they'll, when they do your commission instructions, when Leslie and them do it, they'll tell title to send them a check or wire them the money, and then Barrett Real Estate takes about a day or two. They'll deposit it into your account after the deal closes. I'm impatient, so I'm like, title, give me that check right now. So I have them give me the money right away. You can do either or, it doesn't matter whichever you prefer. You can do either or, but you just need to select one of them. And then once you've selected that, you'll just click next. Then you've got agent commissions. You're only going to fill out the side that you're on. So you've got buying side, say you're on the buying side, you're just going to put 3% or whatever you're getting paid, for this transaction. Then you're good. Then you can click next. Then it's going to add all the other contacts in here with Leslie and all that stuff and everything in here. But you'll just click create. If there's any other contacts you need to add, you can add them in here. So if there's any other lender and stuff like that, you can add those people in here as well, just so you have their contact information. And then you can click create. And then it's going to generate a transaction. And then you're good to go. So now you'll have a transaction. This is what it'll look like when it generates. Now what you'll need to do is add a checklist again. So you'll click add checklist. And then you'll just click, this is a buyer general sale. So we'll just click buyer general sale. And then make sure these dates are correct on the checklist, because the checklist is going to have automatically populate dates for what your, when stuff is due. So just make sure you put in your dates correctly. Otherwise it will not be correct.
Can I change that date? If that's.
Yeah, you can change
Okay.
this. Yeah, you can change these. Just make sure you put them in right, because it's going to go based off that checklist. So if you're relying on the checklist to make sure that you're staying on top of all your documents, make sure you put the dates in right. So now we'll just click add this checklist. And then boom, all your documents will be in here. Your documents that you've initially signed will be in your unsorted documents. So if you go over to your left-hand side here, you'll go to assets, you go to documents, unsorted. Your buyer offer and everything that you've signed initially will be right here. This will be a checklist. If you click on this actual checklist of all the documents you'll need throughout this transaction and other documents you might not need. So just anything you might need is going to be in here for the transaction. Anything that you don't need when you click on it, let's just say, there's a domestic well spuds. We don't need that. So we would just click exempt. And then I always write a comment saying no well or whatever, or NA not needed. You would do that for any of the ones that you don't need. And then there's also just ones in here that, you know, are just extra if you need them, additional spots to put additional addendums. There's also ones for like, you know, cure notices, cancellation notices. Man, I can't talk.
So it'll pull in the individual document.
Yeah, so
That's
it'll,
a 31-page buyer packet you sent.
Yes,
So
exactly. It'll pull that document in. I'll show you how to assign it to each one of these. So we've obviously already had them sign, you know, buyer advisory, wire fraud, market condition, all that stuff. We've had them sign that. Now what we're going to do is we can go through and we can actually split that document up. So we can still send it as one whole e-package, but then in here as well, we can split the document up and assign it to the stuff that it needs to be assigned to. So now you've got your whole, you know, thing in here. You go to documents, then you go unsorted here. So we have that buyer offer here. And now you'll see you'll have some options on this right-hand side. You'll have edit, and then you'll have split. So now you could go through page by page and split this document up and then assign them to those spots on the checklist, if that makes sense. So if this is your real estate agency disclosure and election, you know, page 1 of 1, and then you put, and then you'll see there's one that says agency disclosure form. So you'll assign it to that one. And then you'd scroll down and you got your buyer broker here. So page 2 and 3. I think it's 2 and 3, right? Yeah. And then you go, there's a buyer broker one, buyer broker agreement. So then you would just go through and do that for each one of your documents. If you need to add another line, like, you know, like we said, this is a 31-page one that we got here. So we might need to add a couple lines depending on how many different documents it is. Once you do that and you click split, it's going to automatically split them off and separate them into those categories. So now if you go back to this checklist, you'll see here, the agency disclosure has been uploaded. You'll see buyer broker down here. Buyer broker agreement has been uploaded. So obviously once you do that and you check all, you split it all up to whatever, you know, things that, you know, if I had gone through the whole thing, all these would have been gone and checked off and that they were good to go.
And we need to do this for title to make sure that we have all of the forms.
No, pre-broker.
No, this is for the broker, not for title. I mean, title
Okay.
may ask you to send the documents to them, so you can do it that way. You,
Some of the documents.
yeah, only, so yeah, there's only a couple things that you actually need to give to title, which is the ones that are like fully executed, but
Okay, this is for the broker.
this is, yes, this is for the broker. Now that these are separated though into these individual like packets, because you've gone and separated the document and now it's just right here is just my agency disclosure. I can download just this document by itself and then I can send it to whoever I need to. Instead of having to like send them that huge e-sign packet, you know, the whole thing with 31 documents. If I just need to send an addendum or if I just need to send a, like, let's say I did my buyer broker and I need to send that to title instead of sending them the whole thing with the contract, I can just send them those as separate documents too. You can also do what I would recommend you do if you have a, like say you have a listing or something, or you have an offer that doesn't go through or whatever, or you have one that cancels or something like that. What I would do is add a task for yourself and then call it like canceled offer. Offer number 1. And then we'll just assign it to obviously me, whoever the buyer's agent is, and then select requires document to be attached. So I'm just adding a task for myself to do in this checklist. And you'll see here, if I go down, it's probably going to put it in order.
Check it off on the bottom.
Oh, you could do that one too. I normally just make a task specifically and I'll put like the address or whatever, because I'll go through and change this if I need to change it to a different property instead. But you can then merge multiple documents. So if you have all your documents from, say, your initial purchase that you guys were doing, like these agency disclosures, or if you have addendums or anything like that, you can unassign all these documents. So we'll go through and we'll unassign these documents here. Now they're not assigned to anything and they're going to go into your unsorted list. And then, so now you have these documents here. I can then go and click edit and merge with these other documents that are in here. So if this is like, say this is a whole transaction, we get like almost all the way through. There's a Benzer, there's a purchase contract, there's, you know, all that stuff. I'll merge them all together and then I'll name them like, you know, canceled offer, you know, maybe, you know, the address, and then I'll merge them together. I'm just gonna put a random name here. It takes a second. So now you see you have a new one here. And then I would then go assign this to that one that says like canceled offer, you know, with the address, canceled offer 1 or whatever. Then, so the broker can still go through and, I didn't mean to back out of the transaction. Oops. Then the broker can go in there and still see the documents from because we do need to keep those documents together regardless, anything that has been done. But then at least they can go in there and they can see those documents in there if they need to on previous offers and stuff like that. Then you can go through technically and you could change this. You could change this property to something else. So that's what I do for my buyer offers a lot. I'll do that. I'll use the same buyer offer. You can create now our TC does go through and create new buyer offers for each one. I'm lazy, so I don't want to do that each time. So I will just create one buyer offer. Like I said, I'll name it, you know, 123 Banana Street, and then I'll send out my disclosures. Then once I send out my disclosures, say we find a property that they like, we submit an offer, doesn't get accepted, then I'll just generate a new e-sign. I'll just edit this again, and I can change the address to it, and I can change it to whatever I want. And then I'll generate new contracts again, new purchase contract for that thing. But all my documents are enclosed within that buyer offer. Then once I generate a transaction, all those previous offers that I submitted, everything, all my documents go right into the new transaction. So you can create a buyer offer or like a buyer offer for each one. Just any documents that are in each one of those buyer offers are going to be in those buyer offers. So you'll have to take them out of them and put them in the transaction. So I just do it all in one. Hopefully that makes sense, or I might have completely confused you. I kind of went off on a tangent there, but yeah, regardless, you'll have a checklist in here. You can go and split the documents.
Go in there and check.
Frequently, any of your documents have to be uploaded into here once they're signed 5 days after they're signed. So you guys need to do that immediately. You know, once you have a fully executed document, you need to make sure you upload it to, you know, Brokermint. The nice thing is that you probably won't
So
have.
when you send it to your buyer or customer, or whatever, client, and they sign them and they send them back, they're just coming back to you.
They're just coming back. Yeah, they're just coming back to you. You'll then, you know, download it, send it to the listing agent, and then they'll send it back to you fully signed. All you'll do is just go into that, you know, whatever it's, whatever it is, whether it's the purchase contract, then you can just upload the purchase contract in here, the fully executed one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you don't have to do anything else. It's still all that's in this within the system. The broker will go through and sign this stuff off. The one thing that you will want to do as you like go and, you know, upload your documents is if you go to this action button, you can click submit for review, and then it'll send it directly to the broker telling them to review it right away. Or you can go and do it for individual ones. So you can go into this specific one here and submit that one specifically if it's just that one document you want to submit. Or if you have like 13 documents that you all need to submit, you can submit the whole thing right then and there, and it'll just submit all the ones that are uploaded. It's kicking stuff. There you go. Sorry, did I literally knock them everywhere?
No,
Does that make sense so far, or is anybody like following, or are you guys confused?
It'll be different once you start doing it. I'm sure.
Yeah, no, you'll have questions. Yeah, once you get in there, immediately you'll go in there and you'll be like, I don't even remember what I'm supposed to be doing now. And then you'll call one of us, which is fine. So, you know. No, don't call me. No, you can call me, it's fine. I prefer you guys call either Megan, who's the TC, the company TC. She's really good, she's super helpful. She'll help you if you're confused on what you're supposed to be doing. And then eventually you'll probably end up wanting to just use her anyway to do your stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. You can also call Leslie for sure. You can call Leslie, or you can call Michelle Roden. She's our managing broker. She can help you with all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can call any of us, to be honest. All of us can answer the question for you. There's also a support line where I don't know if it's fully set up just yet, but you'll be able to just call that number. We'll send out an email when we have that support line number. I just don't know what it is. That you guys will be able to call directly and it'll go to one of us. So, but any of us can answer the question for you. Yeah, and if it's like super important and needs to be answered like right away, like don't be afraid to call us if that's, don't be like, oh, I don't want to bother them. No, that's okay. Pick me last though if you're gonna bother anybody, but like, I'm just kidding.
Megan first.
Yeah.
So you vote first.
Yeah, hey. That's what happens, so people on Zoom, does this make sense? Are you guys good or are you confused?
No, I'm good. I think it's good.
Okay.
I love the
Okay.
program.
Cool. Okay, good. And then if you have any questions, obviously too, just reach out. So that's generally how you would create a transaction. And then again, you're just going to upload your documents. Once you do that, you're basically done. The only other thing you'll need to do is do your CDA. We talked about that briefly in the beginning of the orientation, but this is just Brokermint here. To do your CDA, you're going to go back to your dashboard. Again, we will be getting a new website. That's fine.
Because I'm gonna do the listing next,
Okay.
but I gotta talk to Leslie first.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Thank you.
See ya. We're going to be creating a new website for the TC services and the CDAs that looks a lot nicer. Right now, we just use like a Google form. But again, all you'll do is you'll go to the dashboard, you'll go to your BRE office links, you'll see CDA, Commission Disbursement Authorization, and then you'll go and fill this out. You'll just put all your information, stuff like that in here. It'll send it over to us and then we'll generate your CDA. This is where you're going to put anything specific like, oh, I'm picking it up from title, but I'm also, paying for XYZ for the client, or I'm giving a concession, or I have a referral on there, whatever that stuff, is that you're going on with your specific transaction. Or if you have like a team split, this just notifies us that that's what you're doing. You'd put in your team lead and stuff like that. As of right now, some of these are required that don't necessarily need to be required, but if it does require it and you don't have that, just put NA. You don't have to actually put anything there. This is where you'll add in like your TC fee if you paid a TC to do your transaction. If you didn't, then you'll just put none. Any special instructions. So if you want them to courier the check to your house or something for title, you'll add all this information in here. This just essentially creates a document so that we know what's going to be happening, so we can send that to title for you, and title knows how you want to receive your money. So whether that's bringing the check to you, wire instructions, whatever that is, you'll put it all in this, and then this will be sent over for you to the title company so that you'll be good to go. Trying to think. That's pretty much it, honestly. We went over buyer offers, we went over transactions. If you're creating a listing, you just won't do buyer offers and you'll just go from transactions. And then you'll just create a brand new transaction. Same process, but it'll just be just a whole transaction. Then you'll just add a checklist for your whole checklist. And then you'll start uploading, your stuff in your documents and whatnot, just like normal, if that makes sense. If I click on any one of these here, you'll just, if it's a listing, you're just going to notate it as a listing. And then you're just going to basically upload the documents like SPUDs and stuff like that they send you, or whatever else documents that you initially need. There'll be a pre-listing document package that you'll send in that checklist to the client. And then, we went over buyer offers, transactions, checklists, document uploads, document downloads, we sign. I'm trying to think. I feel like we covered everything. I feel like we covered just about everything. There is trainings too on the website, on the YouTube channel you can go to and watch. I think that's generally it. The only other thing I would say is when you get into your Brokermint, if you haven't already done it, which you probably did though, go into your billing and you can add in, whatever you want for, your billing, whether you want a bank account. If you have direct deposit, you're going to need to put your bank account in if you want them to direct deposit. A card in there for your debit card for like your fees and stuff, because this is what we use for everything to like charge all your stuff, your brokerage fees and stuff like that through here too. So but that's pretty much it.
Evo, do we have is there a telephone contact list for the brokerage that is available to us?
Yeah, you can go, technically you can go into contacts here, and any one of these ones that's like, not assigned, you can also like type in like Leslie's name and it will pull up, like you can type in anybody's name, like you see Leslie Gray here, here's her information. She's got her phone number in there. Michael's in there, everybody's in there, so you can go and search it that way too. But if you even wanted one of all the agents, which I like to tell new agents to do, like, hey, you know, contact all the agents, get to know everybody. And then also too, like for like open houses and stuff like that, I like to know, you know, who has stuff going on. I go into Chime and just, you can see all the agents in Chime as well. So I normally go into Chime and then I go into settings and then I go agents. And now I can see all the agents in the brokerage
Okay.
and I have their information. So then I could contact them and be like, hey, you know, I saw you had a listing. I wanted to see if I could do it on a house or whatever. But agent wise, look in your CRM for like the company, like the brokerage, as in like those people, go into Brokermint and you can just search their contact name and then, you know, they'll pull up all their information and stuff. And that's just on the left-hand side here under contacts.
Okay,
Cool.
thank you.
That's pretty much it. So we should be good to go. Any other questions so far? I know you're probably still going to have questions, but you know what I mean. All right. I take that as a no. Dominic's like, I'm ready. I'm done. He's like, I can't take any more. But yeah, that's basically it. And then if you guys have questions, definitely reach out to me. Again, if you click on those links on the dashboard of Brokermint for the TC services, you can see what she charges and stuff like that. It's relatively cheap, and she'll even do it like where you don't even have to write the offers. She'll write offers for you. So she'll basically do everything if you wanted. Or she can just do like after you submit the offers and get it accepted, she can do everything after that. So, you know, she can also do just about everything for listings too, all that stuff, order signs, pictures, everything. So cool. Alrighty. Everybody on Zoom, I'm going to end it here, but you guys should be good to go. If you guys have any questions, contact me.
Good.
Alrighty, guys. See you later.
Thank you.
You're welcome.